How you doing? I'm Sean and I got nothing to sell you. I just wanted to take a few minutes out of my day and talk to you guys. Because I'm about to turn 40 and I've been doing a lot of reflecting on my life, where I was growing up and where I am now. And for those who don't know me, probably nobody here, I am about to turn 40 in 2 days. And I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I spent the first 27 years in Northeast Philadelphia, and about the last, 13 years, I live in a small town now. And that's pretty much what I want to talk about. I want to talk about city life, growing up in city life, and living in a small town slash country. Because when you when you grow up in a city, especially like Philadelphia, you're raised a lot different than most people are. You know, it's a fast-paced environment, and you're kind of in a bubble. Like that's how I grew up, in a bubble, right? Philadelphia is all I knew for, you know, pretty much into my early 20s. Like, I didn't really go anywhere. Like, I would go on vacations to Florida and stuff like that, but when you grow up in a place like that, you're closed off. And you definitely grow up closed-minded. And, I've been doing a lot of thinking about how I used to think about people that lived in the country or small town people, and I don't know. I don't know how the mindset even works, but we used to make fun of people all the time. Like I don't know. I guess it's just an ego thing, but I don't know why. You grow up in the city and you think you're smarter than everybody else and you're sophisticated. Even though I'm far from sophisticated. I mean, I'm a blue collar. I work construction. I remodel houses, so I'm not sophisticated. I got skills, but I'm not a sophisticated person. But getting older now, I have a lot of wisdom, a lot of experiences, a lot of ups and downs. been in trouble a lot in my life, and I've learned the hard way from some of these mistakes that I've made. But now that I'm older, I have humility, and I just kind of wanted to share some of these experiences. So hopefully that the younger generation coming up won't be as closed off, and I don't know. It's been weird since I've moved up here. I think completely differently than I used to. It's funny how things work out. Like I would never be in the position that I'm in now if I didn't make some of the biggest mistakes in my life to that point. I wouldn't have met my wife. I wouldn't have a kid. I wouldn't be living out in the country. I'd probably still be in the city or dead. Honestly, the way I was living, I probably would have ended up dead. So when you grow up in a city like that, you grow up fast. Like, really, really fast. You have to learn to watch your back. You got to learn not to trust people. Like, I'm talking at an early age, like when you're single digit kid. My kid just turned 8 right now, and I can't even imagine him growing up the way I did, because I just talking to him now and seeing how his 8-year-old brain works compared to what I was doing at 8 years old, and I'm so grateful and blessed that I kind of woke up when I did and decided that I didn't want to live in the city anymore, and I kind of wanted to slow down my life, and it almost didn't happen that way. It almost didn't happen. So I guess I'll take you back to not the beginning, but yeah, I got to take you back to before so you understand where I'm coming from. So, growing up, I was raised by a single mother. My dad was kind of in and out of my life. Like, he helped my mom financially, but he wasn't really a part of my life. Like, I would go to him, every other weekend from time to time, but he wasn't really present in my life. Like, when I think about a father or dad, like, you need to be there with your kid, and he just wasn't. I don't really blame them now. I used to, but I can't really blame them now. I mean, my parents had me in high school. They got pregnant at 17, or they got pregnant at 16, had me at 17, and excuse me. My dad dropped out of high school to get a full-time job so he could, support his growing family. And my mom gave birth, went back to school, got her diploma, and the whole family thing never really worked out. My mom and dad kind of broke up after that, and just decided it was probably better off. Sorry if you're hearing background noises. I'm in my barn right now, and there's a road right here, so I mean it's sorry, whatever. But anyway, my mom and dad were never together after that point, and so growing up was kind of weird. Being raised by a single mother it's hard. It's really hard, especially a young one. I mean, my grandparents helped her as much as they could. But anyway, she did what she could, but growing up in the city, excuse me, growing up in the city with a single mother, I mean, you can only imagine the kind of trouble I would get into. I obviously started hanging out with the wrong crew at an early age. We got in trouble all the time. Pretty much was a troublemaker my whole life. Looking back on it now, it's probably I just wanted attention. I didn't have a father figure in the house, so obviously knowing what I know now, kids act out. They need their father in the home. They need discipline. They need a father figure. They need a role model every day. And with a single mother working her ass off to help me and keep her head afloat, like, she can only do so much, Moms can't raise boys to be men. It's not possible, right? So, I mean, from an early age all the way up and through high school, I was constantly in trouble. Always doing the wrong thing, So, I would say at an early age, probably, 11, 12, me and my friends would, steal people's beer, raid a liquor cabinet, go out, drink, fight, stupid shit. I mean, I know a lot of kids do it, but for kids that young to be doing it, it's, thinking back on it now, it's fucking crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But my first real experience with getting in a lot of trouble, I was 14 years old. At that point, I was drinking every single weekend. We would get a case of beer, go down to the playground, go down to the baseball fields, get hammered, get into a fight with the neighborhood that was closest to us. Stupid shit like that. And then, drinking like that, you start smoking weed, and, you think you're cool. So, I get to high school. At that point, I'm selling weed, probably 13 years old. Sophomore year comes around, I get caught in school. And mind you, I'm in a Catholic school at this point. I'm in probably the biggest Catholic school in Philadelphia. I'm 14 years old. I'm getting kicked out of a high school for selling weed. And then after that, it just snowballed, and it got worse. Then I started selling other stuff, selling pills, and then I got hooked on pills. And that's really when the trouble started in my life, like serious trouble. I got hooked on Percocets probably about 16 years old. I had a daily habit, and it got really, really bad. So that just kept going all the way through high school. Somehow I ended up graduating from a high school. Obviously, I had to go to summer school because I was not, I didn't care. Luckily, the school that I went to, they had a tech school, so I ended up learning how to become an electrician through that. But even still, like, that was the only thing that I did right was get a trade under my belt. Because the academic side, I could care less about. And, I only did that so I could become the electrician. And, but my pill habit was still there. And it just kept growing and growing and growing. And then anybody who's been through it or is going through it, excuse me, it's fucking tough. It's almost impossible to kick at times. But I mean, I'll say that to say this. Luckily, I have, see, September. This year was my 16th year being clean, completely. No narcotics, no nothing. So, but anyway, I get through high school. I get into the electricians union at 18 years old, and still have a raging opiate addiction. I was in the electricians union for about 2 years, and then it got to a point where it was so bad that I failed a couple of drug tests. My boss tried to hide me a little bit, and he did whatever he could, but it got to a point where they ended up kicking me out, and my life just snowballed for 2 years. And then I become 20, and I really had no idea where my life was going at that point. So at that point, my dad was back in my life, and my mom had enough of me. She kicked me out of the house for probably the third or fourth time. So it was time for my dad to step up because obviously I couldn't do it on my own. So he let me move in with him, but he told me if I move in with him, I got to do something drastic to change my life. So I think he had the idea of me joining the Navy, just like, or whatever, the Army, fucking Navy. It didn't. He didn't care, and I met with all these recruiters. Ended up signing a contract for the Navy, and talking to my recruiter, I was completely honest. I told him, I said, dude, I have really bad addiction to opiates, and he helped me get into a program, but it only lasted for 30 days, and literally, I'm not joking, the first hour I left that rehab center, I got high. You can't kick a fucking 8-year addiction in 30 days. It's just not possible. It's not possible. I don't care what anybody says. It's not possible, especially opiates. So I didn't tell the recruiter. I didn't tell him, but I kind of got my act under control a little bit. I wasn't taking them daily. I just wanted to get high. But anyway, I signed up, and I was getting shipped out to go to boot camp within, I think, 3 to 6 weeks at that point. So I got high a few more times, and I shipped off. I took a piss test right before we went there. I was clean, so I was good. And then I just had the mindset, I'm like, all right, well, we're going to change your life. You're going to go do this. Everything will be good. And it was. I got through boot camp. I was, pretty much at the top of my class. And then I got my orders to go to A school, which was in Great Lakes, Illinois, where the boot camp was, so I didn't really have to go anywhere. But mind you, this was in the winter. So I'm 21 years old in Great Lakes, Illinois, in the winter. It's right around Christmas time. My school was just about getting done. I think I had like 2 weeks left of school. Christmas break happens. The entire base was on permanent leave. The entire base shut down, Everybody went back home. So I flew back to Philadelphia for 21 days. And when I tell you I fucking partied the entire 21 days I was home, it was all day and night. Literally the first night I landed, I get off the plane, I'm in my fucking dress blues, looking like a little pimp with my Dixie cup hat and all that, looking sharp as shit, you know. Because kids, where I come from, you either play ball, you work a union job, or, that's it. Like, nobody from my neighborhood that I knew of was in the military or anything like that. So, everywhere I went, we went out to every single bar, and I was just dressed up looking like a fucking idiot in my my stupid Navy uniform. But, it took about 3 seconds, dude. I was drinking every night. Then people started busting out the Coke, so we're doing Coke all night long. I didn't even think it. Literally, it was like I just went back to my old life in the snap of a finger, and it's just crazy how your brain works. But anyway, I feel like I'm dragging this story on, but I have to go through this to get to where I'm at now. So, hold on. Hey, a little after work coffee. Whew, that's good. So anyway. So just think about, I'm 21 years old. I'm partying. Everybody's buying me drinks. Like, I don't think I paid for a single drink the entire time we were out. The 21 days is up. I got to fly back to Chicago. And I didn't stop doing coke the entire time. Like, I think maybe the last night I didn't do anything. But in my brain, I'm like, all right, well, I'm in the Navy, I'm athletic, I'm shredded, I'm ripped up. My body's going to just, push this stuff out of my system. Coke only stays in your system for 3 days, right? Not thinking that, as soon as everybody gets back, there's a mandatory drug test, okay? I would say there's probably about 15 to 20,000 people on this base. So, and the way my last name falls, they're probably not going to get to me for, the first couple days. Well, the day after I came back, I get a knock on my door, they hand me the cup, go pee in it, okay, cool, whatever. I do it, not even thinking the last 21 days of my life. I was just a complete fucking degenerate, and here we are. So I pee in the cup, cool. I go back to school a couple days later. I think I finished up in like 2-3 weeks. Cool. I get my orders. I'm headed down to Virginia. And I just went all my life like nothing happened. And I'm in Virginia. I get my, I meet my chief and all the guys I'm going to be on duty with and start learning the job. And I tell you what, man, being in the fucking Navy, it's fucking boring. It is so fucking boring. Unless you're like, I guess, a Navy SEAL or, a SWCC operator or fucking EOD tech, like, regular jobs in the Navy are boring. And if you're on a ship, I was on an aircraft carrier, and that motherfucker is so hard to learn where things are. And, I got lost every day, every single day. So at this point, I think I'm in the Navy I'm in the Navy for maybe like a year, 3 months. And I was in Virginia for about 6 months. So at that point, I'm not even thinking anything. I'm like, oh, cool, everything's good to go. I'm doing good. I'm learning my job. We're progressing. Everything's good. And then one day we're all in the barracks talking, and my chief pulls me to the side. He's like, hey, I got to talk to you. So I'm like, what's up? Pulls me in. He's like, we got to go to my office. I was like, thinking about, like, what the fuck did I do? I didn't do anything, Like, pretty good. I'm squared away. All my shit's, like, in order. And he's like, did you have a fun time Christmas break? I'm like, it was like half a year ago. I'm like, what are you talking about? Did I have fun? And then he slid the papers over. I'm like, what am I looking at? And he's like, read it. It was like, my name, blah, 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 all this shit. And it's down big letters says the results. Like, pop for cocaine. It's like, this is 6 months later. 6 months later, I find out. Like, I'm literally living a whole new life. Like, everything's supposed to be good. And then, so I asked him, I was like, point blank, I'm like, so what's next? And he's like, you're out. I'm like, I'm out just like that? Dude, you're out. I'm like, fuck, like, there's no, like, rehabilitation, like, no, like, counseling, no. U.S. military is zero tolerance. There is no fucking room for any of that shit. So I'm like, what the fuck? I wasn't even thinking about the consequences of, like, going home and all that. I didn't know what to do. And at that point, like, I was a failure in my life. Like, I got into trouble a lot, like, all the time. But up until that point, it was like, I really felt like I was turning a corner and bettering my life. And it was like, holy shit, dude. How the fuck am I going to tell my mom? How am I going to tell everybody in my family who was so proud of me at that point? Like, knowing where I came from as, like when I say I was a fucking monster of a drug addict, like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? So I bit the bullet. I went home. I told my mom. Of course she was disappointed in me. My dad, I don't think he talked to me for, I don't even know how long. And so I didn't know what else to do. And I went on a bender. I went on a bender for probably a good 2 full years. My mom ended up kicking me out again. I was homeless. I was literally living on the street. And I'm 24 at that point. About to be 25. I didn't know what the fuck I was going to do. So one day I had enough of running and gunning, and I called my grandma. She's the only one that's ever, like, not fully turned her back on me. Like, she knew there was hope in me. So I called her and I said, I'm done. Like, I'm done with this. And she's like, what do you want to do? And I was like, I don't know, but I can't do this anymore. Like, I'm not gonna make it another year. Like, there's no way. Like, I'm either gonna die or, like, I have to stop. So she called around to a bunch of places. She's like, give me like an hour. Let me make some phone calls and then I'll call you back. So she called me back and she's like, hey, I got you into a place. Well, the state's gonna pay for it. They'll fund it, but you gotta go, like, now. Like, we gotta get you in now because the spot will fill up. So she's like, I need a definite answer. And at that point, like, I was done. Like, I didn't want to live anymore. It was so bad. But yeah, she came and picked me up, and she took me to where I needed to go. I had to go do a psych eval at Friends Hospital, and then from Friends Hospital they shot me out to West Philly to Mercy Hospital, where I had to detox for 5 days. And I mean, that's a shitty place to be, man, trying to detox, because you're in the gutter. And so I did my 5 days there, and then they took me to another place that was actually pretty much in the neighborhood that I grew up in. I didn't even know there was a rehab there. But it was the worst experience of my life, and I spent 9 months there. I remember when the guy, when I first came in for the induct, the guy asked me, he's like, how long do you want to stay here for? And I was like, dude, I've been to rehabs where it's been 30 days or a 28-day program, and I'm out and I get high within an hour. I'm like, I will stay as long as you guys can keep me here. And he was like, all right, good. So I ended up staying there for 9 months, and it was the worst fucking experience of my life. And I think to this day, that's probably what kept me clean this whole time, because I do not want to go back I don't want to live that life anymore. I fucking can't now. I mean, I got a family to lose, and I got too much to lose, but I don't want to have to do that again. That 9 months was fucking miserable. Every day we're sitting on church pews, talking to people that I didn't want to be around. Like, I'm literally around a bunch of fucking drug addicts and criminals and drug dealers that copped out of their sentence to, So, it was not fun. But anyway, so I'm 20. Shit. So, let's see. I'm 25. I'm 25 at that point, right? I get a whole new lease on life, but I'm starting over. Like, I'm literally starting over, and I have no idea what the fuck I want to do with my life. So, I get it. I get back. I'm working construction. It's just what I know. So, I'm with the crew. Summer hits, and I'm down the shore with my buddy Jim, and we're out watching the Phillies game at this bar. That's where I met my wife. I met her that night, and it was weird. Since day one, she's always said that she saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. So I don't know. I feel like somehow she was put in my path to help me, I guess, heal from some of the shit that I went through, or at least help me face it head on. Because before I would just, numb myself with drugs and alcohol, and she challenges me. She helps me like face that shit head on instead of ignoring it, and I'm grateful. I'm so grateful. But anyway, so our relationship kind of progressed a little bit, over a year and a half, because at that point it's a long distance relationship. She's well over an hour away from me, so she would come down to visit me on the weekends whenever she could. I'd go up there for a few days. It got to a point where it was like, the next stage of this relationship, we got to move in together. So either I have to move up there or she's got to move down to the city. And she's a hairstylist, so there was a lot of opportunity in the city for her to make a lot of money. So she wanted to do that. Like, she wanted to move down there, but there was something in me that, I don't know, I just felt like I didn't want to be down there anymore. And I didn't know what life was going to look like up this way. But I took a chance, and we ended up getting a place not too far from where she was raised. And I'll tell you what, man, the first few years up there, it was a culture shock. And it's, looking back on it now, it's crazy, because it's like, you're not that far. I'm not that far from where I grew up, but like I said before, growing up in the city, you're raised in a bubble. And I didn't realize how my outlook of the world like affected my daily life and the decisions that I made and just the way that I thought. And then I realized, the longer I was up here, I realized how much of a judgmental person that I really was. And I wasn't raised that way. Like, my mom didn't raise me to be that kind of person. I could say my dad's side of the family was a little judgmental. Actually, they were probably extremely judgmental. But I don't know why. I don't know why I was like that. That's not who I am. It took a while for me to get used to living up here. It really did, but I'm so glad that I moved up here, because it really helped me open my mind up. It changed everything about me. I'm so self-sufficient now. Like, I don't rely on anybody. And living up here the last 13 years has changed my mind completely. I've I never thought that I would think the way that I do, but I had to humble myself, you know. Growing up as a kid in the city, I never would have thought I'd be doing the things that I do now. Like, during COVID, I bought a bow and pretty much taught myself how to hunt. I haven't killed anything yet, but I got really good with the bow. Like, I love shooting my bow. You know, I got a barn, but that's my workshop now that her uncle lets me use. He's got a nice little property. I help him fix up his house, and he lets me use his property for whatever I want. You know, ride around with the quad with my kid, and I built a garden. Like, I would have never, if I still had that narrow mind, I would not live the way that I do. And I'm so grateful for where I'm at now. Like, I think people, there's just something about the city. It's completely negative. Like, it's just, it's negative energy down there. And the longer I'm away from it, the better I feel. The closer I am to nature, the better I feel. Like, there's just something fucking evil down there. Like, I used to always be in a rush to go everywhere down there. Always in a rush. Fucking traffic. You know, you're always in a bad mood. Everybody, like, I used to think, like, oh, people just don't understand us, you know, because we're from the city and, you know, we're from the East Coast. That's how we are. We're just rough and we're rude and ignorant. And it's a weird way to live your life. But now that I've been out of there for over a decade, it's like, who wants to grow up like that? I can't imagine raising my kid down there now. I can't. It's crazy. The way I grew up was so fucked up. I feel like my whole entire childhood was robbed because I had to grow up so fast. And now, like, I look at my kid and, like, he has the childhood that he should have. You know, he's able to be a kid. Like, we homeschool our kid. Like, my wife teaches him every day. I built a classroom in our house just to teach him because I didn't want him growing up the way I did, going to school and being forced to learn a bunch of shit that we're never going to use. Half the stuff that I learned in school, I don't use on a daily basis. These schools don't teach kids they don't prepare these kids for the real world and real life scenarios. They don't. So I wanted to make sure that I give this kid every opportunity to succeed. And it's all because of my mistakes and the way I grew up. I'm not sheltering him from anything. Like, he knows, like, what, if he asks me something, I tell him the truth. But he will never have to grow up the way that I did. And I'm so grateful for that. But growing up in a city compared to how I live now, like, I have a garden, I got fresh air, I don't have that city pollution, it's quiet, I can walk outside and, like, I actually see the stars. And it's just stuff that, like, when you grow up down there, you take for granted. You don't even realize you're like look up at the sky, you don't see any stars down there. There's too much light pollution. You know? I remember my first year living up here, it was so quiet that, like, you actually have a thought in your head. Like, you can actually hear yourself think. Because down there, there's just constant noise. You either hear people talking, you hear cars going, you hear horns, you know, blaring, fucking gunshots, like, all kinds of shit. But, man, I'm so grateful to live in the country. And, it's just weird how a bunch of crazy decisions and mistakes can lead you to a path that you never knew that you wanted to be on, but you're grateful that you're there now. So, I don't know. I guess I can just sum it up with, trust the process. The universe will give you what you need even though you don't need it. Even though you don't know you need it. It will give that to you. Cuz I didn't know I needed this, but I think all the shit that I went through when I was a kid, being out here now is actually helping me heal as a person. Cuz like I used to live in constant resentment and think about all the mistakes, like how could I live? How could I do this? And why did I make these stupid decisions? But like I can't change what I did. I can only accept it and move forward. And for years, that shit held me back for years. I mean, it held me back for years, and it would put me in a constant state of paralysis. I didn't know how to move forward with my life because I was so stuck in the dumb shit that I did back then. But like being out here helps me actually think clear and reflect. And honestly, like I'm grateful that I did that. I don't like some of the choices that I made, but I have to live with them. I didn't die. I didn't kill anybody. I did a lot of harm to my body. I'll tell you that. I beat the shit out of my body, but I mean, I'm about to turn 40 in a couple days. I did drugs for 10 plus something years, smoked like crazy, drank like crazy, and I think I still look pretty damn good. So, I mean, that's just me. Half my years are behind me, and I think moving forward, it's gonna be a good one. But I just wanted to start this thing out. I want to build a community of people that are like-minded, that not necessarily been through what I've been through, but have problems. You can come here. If anybody's been through similar stuff that I've been through, let me know in the comments. Let me know your story. I would love, I love talking to people that are either going through something like that now, and I can kind of, help them get a little bit further on their journey, because it's a process, man. Especially in the beginning, when you're trying to get clean, it's tough. It's really, really tough, especially when that's all you know for so long. But yeah, reach out in the comments. Let me know what you're going through, or if you just want to say hi, like, hey, say hi. I'm here. But I want to build a community of people, and I want people to be able to share their thoughts and experience here, and then just kind of take what I said and go on this journey with me. Because I feel like me starting this channel and talking and going through what I know and what I've learned, and I just feel like it'll help me, which kind of sounds selfish, but I'm mainly doing it to help other people in their life. So, like everybody says, hit the like button, subscribe, and if you made it this far, thank you for listening to my story. That's just the Cliff Notes versions. I know this video is probably going to be very, very long, but I'll try and edit it down and try to kind of trim some of the fat. But yeah, thank you for listening.